Have you ever wondered why some decisions we make in life can lead us down difficult and painful paths? Imagine discovering that something you do, something that seems harmless, can actually have devastating consequences for your physical and mental health. Today we're going to delve into an honest and important conversation about a topic often avoided, but that affects millions of people worldwide. Get ready to uncover the truth behind a habit that may be silently undermining your quality of life. Get ready to dive deep into a conversation about a habit that may be silently undermining your quality of life. My dear child, you've reached an age where you can tell right from wrong. You understand what it means to sin, when you lie or take what doesn't belong to you. But do you truly grasp the weight of sin? It's about disobeying God's laws in every aspect. God designed every part of your body for a specific purpose. Just as you instinctively know how to use your eyes to see and your ears to hear, you should also know how to properly use all your organs. Unfortunately, not everyone teaches this. I'm talking about those organs that make you a boy, your genital organs. Some may consider them vulgar or unclean, but they are actually incredibly honorable when used for their intended purpose. God created them with the noble task of perpetuating life. When you're grown and capable, you'll understand the profound responsibility that comes with these organs. As an adult, you'll have the sacred duty to bring new life into the world. But there's a dark side to this. Some may lead you astray, teaching you to misuse these organs in sinful ways. That's why it's crucial for you to understand what's right and wrong regarding this part of your body. Nature takes care of cleansing impurities from your blood, but it's up to you to honor the purpose for which these organs were created. So, my child, remember this. Your body is a gift from God, entrusted to you to fulfill a sacred duty. As you grow, may you use it wisely and responsibly, knowing that through it, you have the power to bring life into the world, a responsibility not to be taken lightly. Now, the purpose for which these organs were given is high, holy, and honorable. If used only for this purpose, following the laws that govern them, they will help you become a great and honorable man. The Bible teaches that no part of the body should exalt itself over another, but if there's any part considered foundational, the cornerstone of all physical and spiritual forces of moral and spiritual greatness, it's the sexual aspect of our nature. Misuse of this part, employing it for any other purpose than that intended by God, who never meant it to be used until a person is fully mature, will bring disease and destruction to those who misuse it and disregard the laws made to govern it. If you've ever been taught to handle your sexual organs or touch them in any way, except for cleaning purposes, let me tell you that if you continue, you can never grow to be a strong, healthy, and happy man. From this moment on, resolve never to engage in such actions, even if tempted by playmates, servants, or adults who claim it won't cause harm. As a doctor, I've seen thousands of young men and boys with pale cheeks, sunken eyes with dark rings, weak stomachs, lame backs, fluttering hearts, weak and inflamed eyes, unsteady gaits, crooked legs, deformed bodies, trembling hands, decayed teeth, dead or gray hair or hair loss, and inflamed or wasted genital organs. All because they handled or irritated those organs in childhood. Perhaps you'll believe me instead of those who bring misery and destruction upon themselves and would have you do the same. Avoid those who would teach or talk to you about such things. If you know of a child engaging in such habits, give them this book to read or inform them of the consequences of this terrible sin. For it is a sin as terrible as any children can commit, worse than lying or stealing. While those are indeed wicked and can ruin your soul, this habit of self-abuse will ruin both your soul and body. If you indulge in self-abuse even for a short time, you will be in such a condition that you will care little for anything or anybody. You will become peevish, irritable, and dissatisfied with everything done for you. You will lose interest in books, music, birds, or flowers, for your mind will be degraded by low and vulgar thoughts, preventing you from appreciating purity and beauty. You will avoid looking people in the face, fearing they can see your habits in your eyes, which indeed they can, or at least many doctors can. When I see a boy or man wasted and weak, with hollow eyes, a sallow tint on the face, faded lips, white ears, and a pimple-covered face, I know they have committed the sin that leads to death if not forsaken. There are other signs that a doctor can recognize as soon as the habit begins. Changes occur in the skin, eyes, muscles, and actions, and no child needs to try to hide their sin, for its consequences will surely become evident. It is because I want to save you from these effects that I speak these words. For I want to spare you from the dreadful conditions that befall all who engage in self-abuse. When the sexual organs are handled, a great deal of blood rushes to these parts, causing a diseased condition. It also leads to diseases in other organs of the body, as they are left with less blood than necessary. Additionally, the sexual organs are closely connected with the spine and brain through nerves, and if they are handled or dwelled upon excessively, these nerves become overstimulated and exhausted, resulting in backaches, heavy and dull brains, and overall weakness. Also, when you are 14 or 15 or 16 years old, if you handle yourself, this blood will pass away, or rather a fluid formed from the blood called semen will pass away, so that you will lose it entirely from your body. You may think you have gained something by throwing away this fluid. You may think it makes you more of a man. But let me tell you, you drain the best part of your being, you throw away your life with it. Not only does it ruin the body by taking away the best part of it that should go to make muscles, bone, nerve, and brain, but it also weakens the intellect significantly and ultimately destroys the mind and soul of those who waste it. If you have never heard any of this before, I am glad that you are learning the truth about these things before you learn the error and falsehood that evil companions so often teach. But if you have heard of it and learned the evil habit, then I warn you to break it off at once and to change your thoughts to something pure, good, and useful. If you continue to practice this habit every day, it will be increasingly difficult for you to overcome. Your sexual organs will become so weakened that this fluid of which I tell you, this seed as it is called, which will pass from you first when you choose to make it, will pass away after a time of its own accord. It may happen when you are asleep or even in the daytime, when you have a discharge from the bowels or when you urinate. Factors like hard rocking in a rocking chair or chafing of your clothes may also cause it to pass away. This discharge is called an emission, and you will have no control over it. You cannot prevent it or stop it. You will dread the approach of night for fear of the emission, and the morning will find you so weak and exhausted from the loss of your life force, which is washed away in the semen, that you will have no energy or strength. Your whole life will be a burden, every duty a tiresome task. You will drag out a weary existence, all the time feeling that it is your own folly and sin that have brought all your troubles upon you. You will find that you can never accomplish anything great with mind or body, for this terrible loss of semen drains and exhausts all the powers of both body and mind. Self-abuse weakens every part of the system, and a great many young boys and grown men die of consumption and heart disease. Many also have epilepsy and paralysis, because self-abuse has affected the nervous system until they have no control over themselves. Some become idiots who cannot care for themselves. Some become insane and end up in insane asylums all over the land. Many who practice self-abuse commit suicide as a result of this habit. When they were young, their life forces are wasted until they can enjoy nothing, and the world and all things in it look so dark and unlovely to them that they can no longer endure it. So the poor creatures destroy the little part of this life that is left to them. Friends mourn and weep, and the world wonders what was the cause of the terrible act, for they did not until now know that this man was not as happy as most people are. But his doctor knew it and did not lie. Perhaps he gives the friends a true account of the condition of their lost loved one, and then their sorrow is greater than before. Would they give all they possess if they could have taught the poor sufferer only when he was young the evils of such sinful habits? Boys who practice self-abuse only as surely commit suicide as the man who shoots himself or cuts his throat. You need not think that it does not hurt you, for you do not suffer now. The consequences of this vice come on so slowly that the victim often is very near to death before he knows that he has done himself harm. This fearful habit weakens the life forces drop by drop. It is like a leak in the wall of a mighty reservoir through which the water flows, and it drips between the rocks and the mortar and the earth until the whole structure is undermined. Little by little, the foundation washed away, and only the ruins are left to tell what once was there. Just so it is with you, my dear child, if you commit this terrible sin. It is with the hope of saving you and many more like you from just such fearful consequences as I have described that this little book is written. For every boy who practices self-abuse is tending to just such a fate as you may become. Not so bad or so miserable as some of those I have told you of, but you will not be a noble, high-toned, and honorable man. You should make sure to avoid all such children, because they are already well on the way that leads now to death. Would you like me to tell you something that will help you to refrain from the terrible vice I have told you about? First, never have secrets that you cannot tell your father or your mother. Never say or do anything that you would be afraid or ashamed to let them know. Second, the company you keep should not associate with those who use coarse and vulgar language, nor with servants and farm laborers who tell filthy stories. Never listen to any stories that you cannot tell your parents about. If you hesitate to tell them what you hear, you can be sure your understanding will be misled by listening to them. Do not curse yourself by the use of impure language. Associate with boys or young men who talk about sexual matters in a low and unbecoming manner, because if you do, you cannot remain pure and good. Do not harbor low thoughts about the genital organs, for God made them just as perfect as your hand or your foot or your eye, and they are more important than any of these organs, for you can cut off your hand or foot or put out your eye and still maintain your health, your manhood, your nobility of mind and soul. But if you abuse and misuse your sexual nature, you can never be what you could have been if you had kept it undefiled. Keep your thoughts constantly filled with pure thoughts, and there will be no room for those that are impure to come in. Be social and cheerful, and try to make everyone around you happy, for this is the best way to be happy yourself. Do not allow yourself to think of using tobacco or strong drink in any form, for it not only burns the blood and excites the passions, but it leads you into low and degrading company, and makes it impossible for you to keep your thoughts full of pure thoughts. Tea and coffee, as well as candy, sweetmeats and spices, rich pastries and cakes, hot cookies, pickles, etc. Injure the digestive organs, make the blood hot and impure, and tend to lead you into evil habits. You have something else to do besides just living to eat, and you do not want to eat hurtful things. Just because they taste good for that is a wrong use of the sense of taste, and also a wrong use of the stomach, and is sure to bring disease and suffering ultimately right in everything, not only because it will bring happiness and save you from evil, but because it is right, and then you will surely live in the way that leads to heaven. God has given you a life that is forever, and the little time you spend on earth is nothing compared to the ages upon ages you will spend in the world to come. Yet your earthly life is a very important part of your existence, for it is here where the foundation is laid for either happiness or misery in the future. It is here where you decide your fate, and your efforts to know and obey God's laws in your own body, as well as in your soul, will not only bring blessings for you in this life, but never-ending happiness throughout eternity. Make sure to avoid associating with children who engage in such behavior, as they are already on a dangerous path. Would you like me to share something that will help you refrain from the harmful vice I've discussed? Firstly, never keep secrets from your father or mother that you wouldn't want them to know. Avoid saying or doing anything that would make you ashamed to disclose to them. Be mindful of the company you keep. Steer clear of those who use coarse language or tell inappropriate stories, including servants or tenants. Refrain from listening to any stories that you wouldn't feel comfortable sharing with your parents. If you hesitate to tell them what you've heard, it's a sign that your mind could be led astray by listening to it. Avoid using impure language, and associate with boys or young men who discuss sexual matters in a respectful manner, as engaging in inappropriate conversations can tarnish your purity. Do not hold negative thoughts about reproductive organs. Remember that God has created them as perfectly as your hand, foot, or eye, and they are even more significant. While you can lose a limb and still maintain your health and dignity, misusing your sexual nature will prevent you from reaching your full potential. Keep your mind filled with pure thoughts, and there will be no room for impure ones. Strive to be social and cheerful, spreading happiness to those around you, as this is the key to your own happiness. Avoid thoughts of using tobacco or alcohol in any form, as they not only harm your body, but also lead you into unhealthy company, making it difficult to maintain purity of mind. Tea and coffee, as well as candies, sweet treats, rich pastries, cakes, hot biscuits, pickles, and the like, all harm your digestive system, heat up your blood, and make it impure. They are likely to lead you into unhealthy habits. You have other purposes in life besides simply eating, and you shouldn't consume harmful things just because they taste good. That would be misusing your sense of taste and your stomach, and it will inevitably lead to disease and suffering. Do what is right in all things, not only because it brings happiness and protects you from evil, but because it is the right thing to do. By doing so, you will surely lead a life that guides you towards heaven. God has granted you an eternal life, and the short time you spend on earth pales in comparison to the endless ages you will spend in the afterlife. However, your earthly existence is a crucial part of your overall journey, as it is where the foundation is laid for either happiness or misery in the future. It is here that you determine your destiny, and your efforts to understand and obey God's laws, both in your body and your soul, will not only bring blessings in this life, but also eternal happiness throughout eternity. Now that we've explored the harsh realities of this hidden vice, it's crucial to remember that knowledge is power. By understanding the risks and consequences, we can make informed choices to safeguard our well-being. But the journey doesn't end here. It's up to each of us to spread awareness and support those who may be struggling. So, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel for more insightful content, and share it with others who might benefit. Together, let's create a healthier and happier community.